Chelsea look set to sign Graham Potter to be their next manager. Brighton have allowed Chelsea to talk to Potter, and he is apparently agreeing a new deal after Thomas Tuchel's sacking 2 days ago. What do you think? In today's video we're going to be discussing this and much more surrounding that Chelsea job. And also, if you want to see more from Football Fix and myself and also Alex, please be sure to like and subscribe. I hope you do enjoy today's video, and let's get into it. First off, I think we need to caveat what an amazing job Graham Potter has done at Brighton and Hove Albion. Last season, he managed to get them a 9th place finish in the Premier League, which when you think that they were promoted 4 years ago, and he's kept them stable and being one of the better to watch teams in the league, that is a really impressive feat. Obviously, he's had Europa League experience at Östersunds, and now he's got some experience in the Premier League at Brighton, and at each level he has been at, he has performed brilliantly and surpassed expectations. Probably the best British coach there is at the present moment in time, maybe rivaled by Eddie Howe. Let me know what you think of this. For me, if Graham Potter continued at Brighton, he would be the next England manager after Gareth Southgate. That being said, Chelsea have come in, and I think with Potter it's fair to say that they were looking at a player, he's been looking like he's been ready for a big club for a while. Whether that be Tottenham after Conte, Arsenal after Arteta, or now Chelsea. Chelsea was probably the least likely out of those because they don't usually like to give project managers a go. They usually like to hire and fire, but bring people in who have a high reputation. You think Thomas Tuchel, Jose Mourinho, Ancelotti, to name a few. The nearest project manager they got was Lampard, and they didn't give him the time. But apparently, obviously, the relationship between the board and Tuchel broke down, and that is the reason for the signing of Graham Potter. And I think, as a manager, you can't get much better than him in the league. He's overperformed the expectations with Brighton time after time. I'd say he's probably the 6th or 5th best manager in the league as of current, and it's a time for Chelsea to come in. He's going to have better assets there. He's going to play attractive football. He's a young manager, and he really is the antithesis of what the club need to build around. The issue is, will Chelsea build around Graham Potter? Let me know what you think below in the comments. And this is the real worry there is going into this, because Chelsea are a club that are known to hire and fire all the managers in the past. They don't give the managers time. I think Tuchel has been sacked, as they said in their statement, in the 100th day of the new ownership. They apparently fell out over Ronaldo and many other issues where the board wanted to use the manager as a soundboard, whereas Tuchel wanted to be left to his own devices to sort of help Chelsea move forwards. I think it was kind of harsh, I guess, but it has been coming, this sacking, for Thomas Tuchel. Because since January last year, Chelsea have been abysmal. Give it 2 more games week to last season and they would have dropped out of the top 4 for definite. Their form at home has been really bad, and I think they won what? They won less games last year at home at Stamford Bridge than Everton did at Goodison Park. So we'll wait and see. We don't know what's going to happen, but it's just a worry. I mean, Chelsea have a lot of young players coming through their system. They probably want to start moving for an asset-driven approach where they, from what the board have been stating, where they bring through the youth players. Is Thomas Tuchel a manager that has experience at bringing through youth players? No. He improves players he's got, assets he's got, but even, for example, Reece James, who's Chelsea's probably best player, he came through under the previous regime. So, is replacing Thomas Tuchel the right decision? Obviously, winning a Champions League at Chelsea, I do actually believe it was about time he moved on. The issue here is the manager. Graham Potter coming from Brighton, coming from a lower team. We've seen the sort of same move from in the past. For example, Brendan Rodgers to Liverpool. Now that came with a 2nd place finish, but did it work out? Probably not. The issue with bringing in a manager who hasn't been at the top club level yet is that there is a different sort of stress, a different expectation that comes with a job, a different pressure. And will Graham Potter be able to rise to that challenge? I think he's definitely good enough to do so, and therefore I do believe that Chelsea will push on, but I believe they need patience. And will this Chelsea board be that patient? Hiring and firing within the first 100 days, they didn't even ride the storm. They had a chance where they could have rode it out until the end of the season and evaluated things then, taken a calmer approach. The fact they've been so trigger happy after 100 days, been so happy just to sack their manager and move on to a new regime, is a worry. It doesn't set a good precedent, especially when Chelsea are meant to be in a new era of football. They've moved away, apparently, from the Roman Abramovich style. So what does this mean going forward? Potter obviously plays attractive attacking football. He gets the most out of his assets, and Neil Maupay, for example, being one of his main strikers in the past, who they traditionally underperform XG. But does that mean the strikers are bad finishers? Probably so. You look at the assets Chelsea have. They have the likes of Reece James as a flying wing-back and Cucurella. Wing-backs is something that Potter traditionally likes to install. And I think Cucurella linking back up with Potter as well as Reece James can be a really good thing for him. That being said, I think the appointment I'm not sure about. It's a manager who doesn't have the experience necessary to be at the top. I think there's no doubt in his doubt in his ability, and I believe he probably will thrive at Chelsea. But there's always that risk when you take a manager who hasn't done it at the top level or the European level, as seen in the past with notorious appointments such as Andre Villas-Boas, Tim Sherwood, Graham Potter now, Brendan Rodgers. These are all managers that have failed when they took the step up to the big club. Even Arteta at the start, it took him a long time to get to the ability he is now. That being said, you have to trust a lower manager at some points. It can work out on occasion. You think Pep Guardiola coming from Barcelona B to Barcelona, that works. And there's also the argument, if a manager never gets a chance at the top job, then you're going to run out of top managers. So it's good from Chelsea's point of view, giving him this chance. Do I believe it's going to work out? I'm about 60-40 on it working out, because it is Chelsea Football Club. There seems to be a precedent that's set with them, that they like to sack the manager, that they don't give the manager time, that they don't do projects. If this was Man United or Arsenal or Liverpool, I'd be more positive about it, or Tottenham, because these clubs notoriously don't like sacking the manager. That being said, Chelsea do back the manager. Potter is definitely a good enough manager, but there are some queries. And it's going to be interesting to see how it develops. What do you think? Do you think he'll do well at Chelsea? Another interesting take that you got to put forward is the English bias. For example, Graham Potter is an English manager. There's some sort of critiques that come from being English in terms of managers. They're not seen as exotic. They're not seen as classy enough. Even Eddie Howe, what a wonderful job he's doing at Newcastle United. There's people that would sort of turn the nose up at him before when he did a great job at Bournemouth because he's English. And I know that sounds stupid, but think of Sam Allardyce. That man was phenomenal for Burnley. He kept them up on such limited resources. And now he's been after he got sacked last year, he's now being linked with the Stoke job. Now I can see the alignment between style of play and Sam Allardyce, but he is someone who is much better than that. Sam Allardyce is someone who, for me, I'd get rid of Frank Lampard and put him in charge of Everton. And I think that they would massively see return from that. I think Sam Allardyce is a mid-table Premier League manager. Not Sam Allardyce, sorry, Sean Dyche. I've just been saying Sam Allardyce for ages. My bad. I mean Sean Dyche is a mid-table Premier League manager. And he was brilliant at Burnley. My bad with that one. But that being said, he doesn't necessarily get the credit he deserves, mainly because of the football he plays, which is fair enough. But when you look at Graham Potter, plays amazing, brilliant football, attacking football. If you look in Germany, for example, when Dortmund take managers on who have managed in Germany, Bayern do it successfully time after time. You think back to Nagelsmann, Michael Rose. Even now at PSG, they've hired Thingy from Ligue 1 who'd performed really well in the previous seasons. So it's now a case of, this is a manager who's willing to take the step up. This is a job that's come about that might never come about for him again. Is he ready for it? I think he is. But the issue is the pressure that's going to be on him will be telling. And it may cause Chelsea to have a dip. Will Chelsea stick by the manager when the run of games comes? When they don't play well? When for a few months he's finding his feet? Or when they go on 3 losses on the bounce? Chelsea aren't a club to do that. History always repeats itself, and they're not a club to do that. The owners can say what they want. There can be a new regime, but the fans are used to a certain amount of success. Graham Potter isn't that. Would they have won a trophy this year if they stayed with Thomas Tuchel? There would have been more of a chance. But Graham Potter is not the man who's going to win them numerous titles in the near future. He is the man to build the club around for when Pep and Klopp leave. Will Chelsea have that patience? I can't see it. And that's the truth. I'm sorry, but history repeats itself as always. Chelsea are not that club to stick by the manager when they go 12 games without a win. Or, not 12 games, sorry, 5 games without a win. For example, last season, Arsenal, start of the season, lost all 3 games. Chelsea wouldn't have stuck by Arteta. Arsenal did, and Arsenal benefit their rewards. Chelsea would fire, bring someone in, there'd be a positive upturn, they'd benefit that way. The club doesn't stick with managers, and that's the issue here. And I think as an actual appointment, it's a great appointment in terms of the man. The man can be an antithesis of a football club. He is brilliant, sensational manager, and they could do a lot worse. But is he right for Chelsea? I just think he's going to get eaten alive. And that's a shame. It's a real shame because I do really, really like Potter. If you watched our other videos where we've done game week previews, I've stated he is the 5th to 6th best manager in the league. Maybe even higher. He's fantastic. But time will tell. Also, I just want to note that other than Aubameyang, Chelsea don't have any goal scorers. So while Potter will be looking at, oh yes, what an abundance of riches, once again they're going to have the issue that they've got players who underperform XG, e.g. Kai Havertz. Raheem Sterling especially is one of those. So, even though he is a goal scorer, he does underperform XG. So, Potter might be thinking, oh crap, here we go again. It's another Brighton scenario. But only time will tell. Will Potter be a success at Chelsea Football Club? Please let me know what you think in the comments below. And I'll see you next time. Goodbye.